back to Winter 89 Colors. My name is Melissa and I am here today to share with you our favorite page. Can I speak, please? That would be really nice if I could just get through one video where I can speak properly. Everyone's favorite video of the month, and that is completed pages. Boy, oh boy, do I have a doozy here for you today. My goodness. But let's just crack on. Let's crack on. Let's get started. Here we go. Coloring pages, starting with number 1. So these are going roughly in the order I completed them, but not completely, because if I went back to the same book twice, then obviously it's not in order. But anyway, so realistically, they're not in order, but you know, here we go. So 50 Springtime Mandalas by Chameleon Angelkova. And what we got done was this one right here. So in this picture, this is a video up on the channel, a color along. And I did this one specifically because I knew that all of our Southern Hemisphere friends are going into spring while the rest of us are all very enamored with autumn. So I thought that I would do a spring page just for them, just to make sure that they felt a little bit included in the rest of our lives. I feel so bad that the poor people down under just get ignored, the fact that it's spring there. So this was done with Artex pencils. And then I have Ohuhu acrylic paint pen for all of the metallic work around here, and then I've just got a little bit of jelly roll for the ladybug there. So it's very shiny, very bright. I like the way the background went. Again, that was done all with pencil. I wasn't sure how it was gonna go because I chose a very interesting color, peaches and light pinks. I wasn't sure if that was going to look right or not, so you know, whatever, but I did it and it's fine. It worked out good, so I'm happy with it. It's great. I thought about whiting out all the lines on the daffodils or buttercups here, but then I was like, then I'd have to like white out the lines on everything. I just left it. I thought it was fine with the lines. I mean, we know it's Chameleon Angelkova. We're not going for ultra realism here, so I decided to just leave it as is. So that is our first completed page in 50 Springtime Mandalas by Chameleon Angelkova. By the way, do you like my nails? Very Halloween-y, right? Like, I did them a little later than I wanted to. I wanted to do them like a week ago, but I had just sort of, without thinking, done my nails pink, and I was like, I'll wait a bit to do them Halloween, so yeah. But at least I got them done in time. Next, we have Tales from the Forest Kingdom by Hannah Carlzon. This book was kindly gifted to me by my friend Kiara. So thank you, Kiara, for making this possible. And this was the page that we did. So this is also a color along up on the channel. And it also went for the hashtag Love and Light for Hannah when that was up at the beginning of the month. This was a buddy color with my dear friend. Why do I always forget your name? I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second here. Melissa. How can I forget that? How can I forget that your name is Melissa when my name is Melissa? That's crazy to me every time. I'm like, all right. Well, anyway, so this was a buddy color. She got hers done, so I'll make sure that that's right here for you so you can see it. She did a beautiful job with that nice smooth background and everything. Just loving it. I love how both of them turned out. Mine turned out quite a bit darker, but that's kind of par for the course with me. I tend to be very dark when it comes to these things. But yeah, so it was done entirely with Prismacolor pencils, the owl and the branch anyway. The background was done with tempera paint sticks. So you'll see in the video that I mask off the owl and then do the tempera paint sticks first, and then I go back with Prismacolor to finish everything off. There was a little bit of an oops in a couple of places where I did not use enough masking fluid. So the tempera paint kind of got on the image where I didn't want it. But the Prismacolors were very kind to me and covered that up for the most part. Originally, I had wanted to see this vest purple and the bow orange. But because I got so much purple paint on the bow, I decided to do it purple instead to kind of help me cover that up. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out altogether, and I love some of the realism, the fluffiness that came through. I love the realism in the candles. I feel like that went really well. I looked up some pictures on Google and I realized that almost all candle flames have a little bit of blue at the very base because that's where the heat's coming from. And if you know anything about science, The bluer or whiter the flame, the hotter it is. The oranger or redder, the cooler it is. Which is, I mean, you'd think it would be the other way around, but it's not. Alrighty, so that is Tales from the Forest Kingdom by Hannah Carlzon. Next up, we've got this big beauty, my personal project book, one of my first adult coloring books I owned way back in the day, Anamorphia. And I finished a long time whip. Long time whip. And that is this whale. So, this I originally started when I first got the book. I started doing the whale itself using, I believe it was Crayola pencils. And then I abandoned it about halfway through. I never really got to this side. And then of course, by the time I realized that I wanted to finish this picture, I didn't have the Crayola pencils anymore. So I finished the whale and the corals using Prismacolor pencils, as well as a few of the different fish and everything. And my idea was that I was going to do the background in all these this pastel sort of tie-dye thing that's down here. And I started doing that with Artex pencils. I even went so far as to draw the circles in which I would need to color to create this same pattern. Yeah. And I realized that I was not going to have a wrist if I kept doing that. So I abandoned it. And I assumed it was going to be forever abandoned and I was never going to do anything with it, because there's no way I could finish that with Artex pencils. They just were not going to allow me to do it physically. So I abandoned it for many moons. And then I finally, just recently, well, this month obviously, realized that I kind of liked it the way it was. So I took a metallic acrylic paint, a folk art metallic acrylic paint, and I went over the background to try and cover the circles I had drawn, which mostly worked, which is great. And then I just left the rainbow stuff here, thinking that because the whale, the front half was a little different color than the back half because of the Crayola versus the Prisma, I thought, you know what, this whale is swimming, and as he's swimming, he's bringing color with him. He's spreading color out behind him. If he were to move a little more forward, these corals would start to become brighter colors. And that's kind of what's happening. That's why his back half is a little bit brighter than his front half. That's why the water down here is brighter. That's kind of the theme that I went with. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But either way, I'm so glad it's finished. It's such a beautiful page. And I'm actually looking forward to having the opportunity to do it again. I do have it in another book, one of his compilation books as well. So I may redo it again with my original idea, but using a better medium for the background. So, but that's a future me problem. So this is finished. I'm happy enough for what it is. Ugh. Come here. All right. And that is Anamorphia by Kirby Rosanes. I have to have a better place to put these. There, okay. Next, we have Chris Rainiak's Frogs and Friends coloring book. And I did this one. And I did this one for Disney Meg's hashtag, Frogs and Friends color along. That's Disney Megs and Amanda Colors on Instagram and YouTube. So the background is, again, tempera paint sticks. I've been having a lot of fun with those lately. And then I've got a beer or Ohuhu alcohol markers. I'm going to put an and or in there. It could be either. I'm running out of a beer markers though. They're soon going to be gone. But I've got alcohol marker for the base on these guys and a little bit of the shading. I've got homemade glitter glue for all the sparkles. And yeah, that's about it. Pretty simple little page. I thought the background really stood out and was super fun. And then a little glitter. I mean, there's only so much you can do with these pages. They're very simple, but that's kind of the beauty of them, is that all you have to do is add a splash of color and they really come to life. So I'm looking forward to doing more of these in the future and continuing on with that hashtag. So that is Morning Scribbles, Frogs and Friends. Next up, we have Welcome to the Village. If you've been following my channel, you will know that this is my first ever completed coloring book, not including color by numbers. I have other completed color by numbers, but no real coloring books like this that are finished from front to back. So that's super exciting. And if you want to see it, there is a video of it on the channel. I go through the entire book with you. But for today, in case you haven't seen that, I am just going to look at the 3 pages that I completed this month to finish this book off. So the first one, I was going to leave this one until December to get it done, but I had everything else in the book done. So I thought, you know what? Let's just do it and get this book done, and we can move on from this book and put it in storage, and then it's one less book on my shelf. So, did this fox. The background is red acrylic paint with a red glitter paint over top, or a red glitter paint over top to create that nice sparkle. And the rest was done with alcohol marker and a little bit of metallic jelly roll. And that's it. Really simple, but I like the way it turned out. I did all the shading with the alcohol marker, and yeah, pretty happy. Cute little guy. Next up, we have this one here. So the background I did with Creatology gel sticks activated with water. This was really basically my first time using them on a large space, so I obviously have some work to do on figuring out how to do that, but I'm not mad that it's messy. It kind of gives that impression of, I don't know, fun and carefree feelings, and the rest was done with alcohol marker, except for their little, what do I call these? Game Boy things. Got a mold. And they are done with Sakura glaze pen for shine. And finally, we have this one here, which was inspired by a trip to Michael's this month. I went, and this is what it felt like. It felt like the war of the holidays. We had all the Christmas people there pushing and shoving through the freshly put up Christmas aisles, and we had all the Halloween people pushing and shoving to get the clearance Halloween items. And it just felt chaotic to me. So this is what inspired this page. And yes, it's messy. Is it ideal? No, but that's okay because that's the feeling I was going for. So the characters themselves were done with alcohol marker. However, the backgrounds were done with oil pastel. And then over top, I put satin glazing liquid and gloss acrylic medium with a whole bunch of different glitters put in. You can see there's like the shape glitters for Halloween, and then like the fine glitter for Christmas. And yeah, it just felt so chaotic and appropriate for what I had been through that day. All right, so that is my completed Welcome to the Village Cozy Coloring Book by Morgan O'Brien. By the way, this book is no longer available on Amazon. If you wish to purchase it, you can go to Morgan's Ko-fi shop, and you can, I believe you can get it there as a PDF. So the next book that we have is another Morgan O'Brien, and that is Matchstick Mouse. So I did this one for Julianne Annette's hashtag Matchstick Mouse Through the Seasons, but I also did it for 13 for Halloween palette, which I'll put it across the screen. I forget who put this on. I'm so sorry. Or actually, you know what? I can just look it up. Let me just look it up. I've got it here. What Colorful Worlds and Sabby Sabby. Their bingo 13 for Halloween. So I did this color palette. This is as close as I could get in my alcohol markers to the color palette that they provided with the bingo card. So I used that on this page, and I thought it turned out really nice, actually. It gives a really nighttime kind of glow. It doesn't look as unnatural as I expected it to. It just kind of looks like the trees are very, very encased in darkness, and yeah, turned out really good. I really enjoyed doing that. So yeah, that was alcohol marker, acrylic paint for the background, and then a little bit of jelly roll for the accents. I enjoyed that. That was really fun. I don't normally work with strict color palettes, but I'm gonna try to do more of that in the future. So, all right, that was Matchstick Mouse and Autumn Coloring Book. Next, we have Enchanted Faces by Lynn. And this was also a buddy color, but it's also a video up on the channel. So this was done based with alcohol marker, and then I used Color colored pencils out of my 72 set to do all of the shading and whatnot. I have a bunch of Sakura glaze. I have a No Name gel pen for the butterfly wings, and then I have Dimensional Magic by Mod Podge, which is kind of like glossy accents for her eyes, the apple, etc. This was fun. I like the way that the color palette turned out. I think it worked. I thought her hair was going to be way too boring because I used very, very like soft, dull colors, but it just really works with the rest of the palette. So I'm really happy with the way that turned out. I'm getting used to Lynn. I had a hard time working in Lynn's pages for the longest time just because I wasn't sure what to do with them. They're so cartoony with really thick lines, and a lot of them are cut off because they're in these little small pocket books. So it's kind of hard to tell what's going on in the background, but I've started to figure out how to do them. So I'm enjoying doing her books a lot more lately. Yeah. So that's Enchanted Faces by Lynn. Next, we have Metallic Mandalas by Sparkpool. Oh gosh, we're falling apart. I'm gonna try to glue that back together after. By Amy Voskamp. So here is my page, and this goes for Meg's Disney Mandala Challenge. And this month, her challenge was Maleficent. So this is the color palette I made for myself. Got it as close to her color palette as I could, even including the gold there. She's got a little bit of gold on her staff or whatever. So the background is acrylic paint, including some Posca, I believe, for those inner areas. And then the rest I did with Color pencils. And then the gold is, I believe, I think it's Jelly Roll, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's just gold Jelly Roll, so. Pretty simple. I mean, the pattern itself is pretty complex. I chose it because, I don't know, it screamed villain, I suppose, but yeah. So that is Metallic. Did I say that this goes for Meg's Coloring Corners hashtag Meg's Disney Mandala Challenge? Yes, I did. Okay, there we go. Metallic Mandalas. Whew. What a morning, people. What a morning. I'm going to take a drink of my tea here. All right. Next up, we have R.J. Hampson's A Frog's Tale. And this was, again, a buddy color. And this is what we did here. This page is called The Tournament. And he is riding his little snail friend. So this was once again all based in alcohol marker. The background, the yellow here, was based in the only Michaels brand, like Artist Loft alcohol marker I own. I bought a singular open stock one just to try it. Just because I knew that eventually I was going to run out of certain colors. So I picked a light yellow because I use a lot of like light yellows, and I find that the Ohuhu set doesn't have as many light yellows in it as I would like, at least not the set that I have. I'm really scared. I need to replace some of my Ohuhus, and I have the 216 Honolulu set. So I'd love to get either the 104 to complete it, or just get a whole new set of the 320 set, just to kind of, because I have to replace a few of the ones. They're getting dry in my set, and we can't get refills here in Canada yet. So I have to get a new set, but I'm scared. I'm gonna have to finance it probably. It's so expensive, but here we are. Anyways, so yeah, this was based with alcohol marker, and then I used, I think, Color or Artex pencils. I'm not 100% certain, I forget. But it was either Color or Artex pencils for all of the shading in it. I think it was Artex. Yeah, that color looks like Artex to me. And then I've just got some little gel pen accents. And my buddies, of course, will be here, and she did a magnificent job on hers as well. Very, very pretty. Kate did a beautiful job, and I'm so glad that we got to buddy. We buddied last month, and we buddied this month, and I don't remember if we picked out a page for this month. Let me check. I think we did, actually. Let me check if we picked. I'm fairly certain that we did pick one for this month. Hold on, I'm getting there. We did. We picked from a different book, though. We're not doing this book. We're doing Magic Jars next this coming month, so that's exciting. I'm excited to do another one with you, Kate. Thanks for buddying with me on that. So that was R.J. Hampson's A Frogtail. Next, I have my big book of PDFs. I did several PDFs this month, but selfishly, several of them were because I wanted to win a contest. So the first one that I did is this one here. So I printed off a bunch of these pocket size autumn mouse pictures. They're not technically pocket size because, like I said, you can print them in big size, but I find because of the way that they're drawn, I wanted them in pocket size. I felt like I would be easier to chew on. So this is Autumn Mouse by Artsy Lola Co. on Etsy. And so we did this one on camera, so I won't go too deep into it, but I based it with alcohol marker, and then the background I used the gel sticks. I'm not sure if I activated them or not. I want to say I activated them a little bit, but not completely. And then I used a variety of pencils to finish off the rest. And then it's black Posca for the black border, and a copper Signo for the inner border there. And then, of course, I've got homemade glitter glue for all these little things in the air. I'm not sure what they are, but I'm going to call them little magical specks. But yeah, this was really fun. I'm glad I did it on camera. Hopefully we can get to more of these autumn PDFs. I have a lot of autumn PDFs sometime in November. So the next ones I did are all back here. And they were given to me as a promotional item by the creator of this coloring book, which is, there's two of them. There's Spooky Boo K, so BOO-K, and Creepy Cute. I will put the name of the author on the screen. I completely forget at this moment, but I entered her coloring contest, which, of course, the prize was Ohuhu markers. Several different sets of Ohuhu markers were given away, so I entered all of these different pages for her contest, and unfortunately didn't win, but that's okay. I'm sure they went to a good home. So this one was all alcohol marker, homemade glitter glue, and the background was those gel sticks. I was a little better at doing this one. Still need to work on it, but we're getting there. Again, this was alcohol marker. I'm pretty proud of this one because he's very, well, he's a little gay, isn't he? Love it. But yeah, so it was all done with alcohol marker, homemade glitter glue, and I've got gold paint for the border. And then some the Ohuhu glitter markers for his phone and his glasses. Next we have this one, and we have acrylic paint for the background, both pinks. I mixed them myself to get two different shades of pink. Based in alcohol marker, we have some Color pencil shading, and of course homemade glitter glue for all the accents. I also stuck some holographic stickers on there just for funsies, and that turned out pretty nice. Very, very shiny and glittery. I'm sorry if you can't see it through the book, through the glare. And then I did this one, which was alcohol marker, homemade glitter glue, and then the background is soft pastel, done with a stencil. So pretty happy with all of those. They were really super fun to do, even if I didn't win the contest. I enjoyed coloring them, so that's pretty fun. You're gonna see a lot of these cute and comfy pictures this month. in this video because there's so many autumn ones out there. Autumn and Halloween is going crazy with the cute and comfy stuff, and even before this cute and comfy thing became like really crazy, I already had a few kind of similar autumn pages, so yeah. So the next one is Sarah Sedgwick's Spooky. Sorry if I said the name wrong. And this was another buddy. And I did the first page here, the pumpkins. So this is also a color along on the channel. My buddy was Paula at Coloring Mum, so thank you, Paula, for buddying with me. Hers will be right here. She did a fantastic job as well, just super fun. I'm glad we did this page. I'm struggling to get into this book. I've done one other page in here, and it went really well, so I don't know why I'm all freaked out, but for some reason, I revere this book a lot. I think it's beautiful, and it deserves a lot of attention. The paper is fantastic, and the images are just adorable. I don't know why I'm so scared to get into this book when a lot of other books, I'm like, it's just a book, but for some reason, anyways, I'm glad we did this one. So there is a video up on the channel. The background is stamping ink, and then I based with Crayola Super Tips, and then I used pencils over top. And then of course I have acrylic paint pens for lining. No shiny, no sparkle, which is unusual for me, the glitter queen over here. But yeah, I thought that turned out really nicely. I'm really happy with it. It's got a really, you know, sunset in autumn kind of vibe. Alrighty, so that is Spooky by Sarah Sedgwick. Next we have Chameleon Angelkova 50 Autumn Miniatures. I believe this was my first page in this book for some reason, but this is the page I chose to do. So this one was based in alcohol marker. The background is Liquitex acrylic marker, which was an interesting experience. I only own one Liquitex acrylic marker. Again, I bought it open stock just to try it. And then the rest of all the shading is done with Artex acrylic markers. They're dual-ended ones. So let me show you those just real quick. Because Artex has been coming out with like 6 dozen new acrylic marker sets over the last 6 months. I don't know what is going on with them, but they are just like pumping out the different acrylic markers. But I got these ones like a year ago or something. They are kind of the old originals. They're not really opaque at all. It takes a lot of layers to get them to cover lines like you see here. But they're the ones that no shake, no pump. They've got a bullet nib and a brush nib. And they're okay. Again, they're really not opaque, but they are really easy to work with and fun, and they did a lot of good stuff with the shading on here, so I'm happy with that. This is the Liquitex acrylic marker, and it's traditional paint marker where you shake it and you pump it, and it's got a big old chisel nib on it, as you can see, which has got all kinds of staticky little fuzzes on it, so it's really difficult to be accurate with it, but it did get the job done. It's also really not opaque, which I was really surprised by. You can still see, I have faint pencil lines around the border from where I made this border, and you can still see them. I didn't think I'd have to erase them with a paint marker. I thought the paint marker would go over, but with 2 coats, it's still like, you can see, look at that. You can really see the pencil marks. It's crazy. But yeah, so the rest of this went really well, and I'm happy with it. It looks really, really fun. Of course, I've got Folk Art Glitterific Gold in the background there for all the shine. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun. I probably should have videoed it, but I mean, we can't video everything, can we? Especially when we live in a house of 5 different people. They're always coming and going, and videoing it can be trouble. I have to really pick and choose. Like, for example, I know nobody's going to be home right now for the next hour to 2 hours. So I reserve this time for videoing, so I have to pick and choose what I get to video during that time. And I thought, you know, completed pages is more important than videoing the process of coloring this. I mean, if your opinion is different, you let me know in the comments, but you let me know what is most important to you to see on film. Would you rather see me color something like this? Would you rather a short tutorial? Would you rather a product or book highlight? You know, let me know what it is that if I have to pick a video for you, what would you rather see? So that's 50 Autumn Miniatures by Chameleon Angelkova. Next, we have Fierce and Fancy Fantasy Faces Line Art and Grayscale by Lynn. Man, I got through that smoothly. It's a mouthful. So here we are. So this one was done for a couple of hashtags, I believe. Let me just look here. So we had, obviously it was for 13 for Halloween by What Colorful Worlds and Sabi Sabi. It was also for Portrait Year of Color by Jamie's Coloring Love. It was pale skin and red eyes. So I saw a lot of other people do this one as well, so I feel a little bit like a copycat, but oh well. I've been wanting to do this picture for a long time. I've had it marked since I got the book, which was sometime way last year. But yeah, so it's alcohol marker with a little bit of pencil shading here and there, some soft pastel for shading on the more pale areas, her eyeshadow, Sakura glaze for all the black, some glitter gel pens for the border and around the wings here, and of course, dimensional magic on her eyes. Yeah. Fun, fun, fun. So there is Fantasy Faces Line Art and Grayscale Pocket Size Coloring Book by Lynn. Next, here it is, Spooky Cutie by Kawai. And I did a few in here. So the first one, I know, right? It's crazy. This neon bright lava lamp. I know this was meant to be spooky, but I, for some reason, was just feeling these neons like crazy. So some of this was based in alcohol marker, but a lot of it was not. I used neon tempera paint sticks for almost all of it, and then I used neon acrylic paint pens to block out all the lines, tempera paint sticks for the background, and these little things like this little shininess in the corner. So I went a little out of the box on this one. I've even got an iridescent paint stick over top to make the metal of the lava lamp. And a little bit of glitter glue on the hearts as well. So this was super, super, super fun. I enjoyed this. Again, with these little books, I don't take them too seriously. I don't try to make them super realistic. Some people put a lot of effort into them and make them look like really, really good with all their shading and their highlights and just amazing. And I applaud them for that. But sometimes, especially with these really simple ones, I can't bring myself to do it. I'm like, it would just be fun to like throw some color on the page and be done with it. And that's what I did. So a lot of fun. And the next one is this one. It was done all with alcohol marker once again. So I did do some shading. I did do some patterns on the lamp and in the background, on the curtains, even on the chair. I played around with that whole thing, that whole getting really detailed about it and putting patterns on things and whatnot. I don't think there's any shiny on here. Oh no, that's a lie. I've got some copper jelly roll for the lamp metals and that, but the rest is all just white paint pen and alcohol marker. And I think it turned out pretty well, especially for the really super limited, muted tones I went for. I thought it turned out really nice. So. And the final one, I did Baby Cthulhu. So all based in alcohol marker, shaded in alcohol marker mostly. We've got acrylic paint pen to block out the black lines, dimensional magic over top of the eyes, which of course have Ohuhu acrylic glitter marker, and homemade glitter glue for the accents. Again, not a whole lot of effort put into it, just enough to make it fun and pop. Again, I did all the patterns on the pillow. But otherwise, just a little bit of shading here and there made it a really fun, cartoony little thing. And of course, I glued down all these little Halloween confetti bits to make it more Halloween-y. Really fun. Just this, I'm enjoying doing these cute and cozy ones just for fun. I'm not taking them seriously. I'm just playing around with them and letting them be what they're supposed to be, which is relaxing and fun. So that's Spooky Cutie by Kawai. Next, we have Tropa Goth. There we are. So this goes for 2 hashtags again. I've got the other palette from 13 for Halloween. And what is it called again? Tropa Goth 2024 by Christina's Art Corner. So, killed 2 birds with 1 stone on this one. So we've got alcohol marker for the inner background, but we've got acrylic paint for the outer background, all based in alcohol marker, shaded in alcohol marker, and then we've just got glitter pen and glaze pen for the accents. I think we kept to the color palette pretty well. This was as close as I could get with my alcohol markers to the palette they provided. And I'm happy with the results. At first, I didn't know what to do with Carla Magana's work. I looked at it and it intimidated me because it was so different, so cartoony, so off the wall. You know, it confused me a little bit at first. But once I got used to it, I started realizing that it's so much fun. And again, it's something I don't have to take seriously. I can just let loose and use color and sparkle and glitter and anything else that I want to create beautiful works that don't have to be hyper realistic and, you know, strenuous. I can just have fun with it, which is much needed these days. So that's Tropa Goth by Carla Magana. We're about halfway there. Halfway there. I know. We're going to be here a minute. Just hold your horses. Goodness gracious. You see the size of my tea? It's pretty big. It's probably about 2 teas stuck together. Whew. All right, so next up we have Romantic Country by Eerie, the first tale. And we did this one. I'm pretty proud of this one. It is a color along on the channel, mostly. Unfortunately, there's a little chunk in the middle that I lost footage of. I don't know what happened to it. It just wasn't there when I went to go upload all the stuff to my editing software. Maybe I forgot to hit record. I don't know. But most of it's there. So the background is there. The scarecrow itself is there. All the pumpkins at the bottom is there. It's just we're missing the chickens. Or no, I think the chickens are done. We didn't get to see the hops or the potatoes, and we missed some of the highlights using acrylic pen. But everything else is there. So if you want to see that, go ahead and check it out. So the background we did with soft pastel oil pastel, and then we fixed the entire thing using satin glazing liquid. And then we used an interesting choice, polychromos pencils, to do all the coloring of the rest of the objects. And I say that's interesting because polychromos, first of all, doesn't like this book to begin with. Second of all, it's really not a fan of satin glazing liquid because it's too textury. So it tends to look a little bit splotchy. So I made interesting choices, but I think it worked out, and I think it looks not bad at all. The oil pastel that I used for the background, they're really old oil pastels, really old and not super expensive ones. You can't even get this exact set anymore right now. It's the Crepa Expressionist 16 color. I can't find that anywhere. That doesn't, I mean, they still make the Crepage Expressionist, but not in the 16 colors. Like, they have 12 colors, they have 25 colors, and like 30 colors or something, but they don't have the 16, so, yeah. So anyways, but they're really, really old, and so they're a little dried out. They don't have that same oily texture to them as they used to, so they are a little bit splotchy. But I think that that kind of worked out in our favor. It looks a little bit grungier and Halloweenier, so I'm happy with it. It worked out. It's fine. Yeah, that's about it. I got some gold pen in there just for accent, and oh no, so the smile, like the inside of the jack-o'-lanterns was done with a metallic watercolor I got on Etsy. I will put the information in the description and on the screen for that. And it's really shiny because I sealed it using acrylic sealer, spray acrylic sealer. So it is finalized as far as being sealed goes. It's stuck in there forever. Just because of all the different materials and stuff I had used, all the paint, all the glitter, the oil pastel. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't going anywhere. So it is quite shiny because of that, but I'm fine with that. Particularly in real life, it looks quite good. So yeah, that was Romantic Country. Oh, by the way, that was a buddy color as well. Right, so here is Liz's picture. Thank you, Liz, so much for doing this with me. It was just so much fun. I hope to do some more with you in the future. Liz's was fabulous. She managed to squeeze it in at the very last minute with this beautiful gray, gloomy sky that she did. Just fabulous. I'm absolutely loving it. The skies are very contrasted. We've got a warm versus a cool, but ultimately they give the same kind of gloomy effect. So thank you, Liz, once again. Let's do this again sometime. There. That is Romantic Country by Erie. Next, we have Mini Mania #1. And I did this page. And this page was also for a hashtag, and that is, I believe, by Coloring Bumblebee, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. Hold on. Why don't I have it? Well, anyway, it's Complete Mini Mania by Coloring Bumblebee, I'm pretty sure. So, based in Super Tips, a lot of it, and then the background and the grass is all based in soft pastel. I used Artex pencils, I believe, to do all the detailing and shading. I've got Jelly Roll glaze for the spots on the mushrooms, and then I've got Stardust, Jelly Roll Stardust for all the little halos and accents on all the plants and mushrooms. And a little bit of glitter nail polish on the mushrooms as well for accent. So this turns out really magical. If you look at it from one angle, it looks like just a normal day walking by the pond in the forest. But if you look at it from another angle, it looks really, really magical because of all the glitter that I put down. So I thought that was really, really fun. I'm enjoying this. Again, I was a little bit intimidated by Gabby Wolf's work at first because it was very different from what I was used to, but I'm starting to really enjoy it, so that's great. And that's Mini Mania 1. Next up, this one was out of left field. Just completely out of nowhere, I decided to do this one. I don't know why. It has nothing to do with fall or any of the other themes. No hashtags, nothing. I decided to do this one. Why? Because I wanted to do a background using Inktense pans. So I did. So I used Wet on Wet Inktense pan ink to do the green and black background. And then I took some MAB watercolor glitter and put that over top. I used Prismacolors to color the rest of the flower and a little bit of acrylic paint pen to create the accents. And there's glitter pen on the little flowers down here and around. And that is it. It is very shiny, very glittery, and I'm really proud of how that background turned out. I masked off the flower to do it, so I'm so happy. This was really fun. I'm calling it my neon flower, and I've got 2 more in here that are based, or not based. The background is done. If you don't want a sneak peek, look away right now. Sneak peek. And I did those in watercolor instead of Inktense, so I want to see how those are going to turn out hopefully this month. But I really enjoyed doing this. I'm getting a lot braver with using my water mediums. So, of course, I had to iron this, by the way, so it didn't stay flat like this. It was really crinkly when I did it, but it also did not bleed through. That was me. I should have taped off the edges better. My bad. But that's okay. That can be covered really easy. So that's Twilight Garden by Maria Troll. Next, we have Grains of Gold by Hannah Carlzon, and this was also a buddy color. And I believe this was with Julianne Annette Art. Yes, Julianne Annette Art. We've been working on this together. Hers will be here for you to see, and of course she did a fabulous job as well. This was a complex page with all the light sourcing and the mushrooms and the fur. My goodness, you know, I really struggled with this one quite a lot. So, wow, I'm looking at it now again because it's been a few days since I've looked at it, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I based the entire page in Inktense pan. I had never used them before. I bought them because I had a coupon. Just the first set of 12 mini Inktense pans, and I based everything with it, including the background, and it turned out surprisingly well. And then I went over with Polychromos pencils. I have acrylic paint pen for accents, highlights, doing the fur on the big cat, and the candles, Jelly Roll Glaze for the dots on the mushrooms, and I have Dragonfly Glaze covering the background. I have, again, MAB watercolors gold paint around the, all the candles to create some shine. And then I flicked white acrylic paint everywhere to create sort of this mystic kind of look. So she be shiny. But I think it turned out really, really nicely. Surprisingly good. It got to this point where I felt like I could do more, but I felt like I would ruin it. I felt like if I pushed it too far, I was just going to end up being like, now I've gone too far and I've ruined it. So I stopped and I just was like, okay, I'm going to flick some paint on here and we're done. That's it. And you know what? I'm glad I did because I think it turned out fabulously. And of course, Julianne's turned out fantastic as well. So thank you for buddying with me, Julianne. It's really lovely to do that. I hope we do another one soon. And that is Grains of Gold by Hannah Carlzon. Next, we're back down to something more stress relieving. So I got my Bold and Easy out. I only own a couple of Bold and Easies. I only own 3 Bold and Easy books plus a Coloring Heaven Bold and Easy edition. So not going crazy here, but I did do a couple of pages in here. So I saved this one for the fall season. It was based and no, it was done entirely in alcohol marker, except for the outside, which was done in a tempera paint stick. And then I put homemade glitter glue over top of it. And then I used acrylic paint markers to get rid of the black lines. And that's it, a little bit of glitter pen on the hearts here. Again, simple, easy, fun, stress relieving. You know, I just was able to sit down and do this and not think, not worry. Didn't try too hard, as you can tell, just a little bit of fun on the page. So next I did this one, and the background is acrylic paint, just regular out of the tube acrylic paint. The objects were done with alcohol marker and just a little bit of glitter paint pen for the metal parts there, and that is that. Nothing complicated. Fun, easy, zero stress available. This one was super fun. Again, the objects were done with alcohol marker. I added a few patterns to things. As you can see, the background was done with liquid tempera paint and a stencil. And I think that the liquid tempera paint works really good for this because it's very watery. It's not highly pigmented. So doing a few layers with a stencil makes for a really good, nice, soft background. So I thought that one was really, really fun too. So that is Stress Relief Bold and Easy Coloring Book by Kawai. I'm starting to lose my voice, guys. Oh my goodness, we've been here forever. I'm not gonna hurry it though, because if you're here and you wanna be here, so. There's nothing at the end of this video worth seeing that's any different from the beginning, so if you don't wanna be here, sorry. Hit the dislike button on your way out. All right, so I did 2 in here. I did this one in some nice neon colors. Again, I don't know, maybe Halloween gives me an excuse to use my neons a little bit. Based in alcohol marker, shaded in either Color or Artex. I'm not sure, but one of my less expensive pencils. I've got some glitter pens of a various nature and black, I think that's paint stick for the outside. Again, another fun, easy, low stress one. I'm gonna bring my tea over here. I keep bumping it. Really fun. I enjoy doing these little fun ones and whatnot. Next, I did this one. The background is oil pastel. This one was a different oil pastel though. I used these oil pastels, which are super cheap, and they're more like very soft crayons than they are oil pastel. They're not really great for smudging and smooching together, so I just burnished them like a crayon, and that seemed to work really well. So that's probably how I will use them going forward. Don't love them. I really love a set of oil pastels that are like, you know, usable like oil pastels where you can mix them together with your finger or a burnishing tool and, you know, all that kind of stuff. That would be ideal, but these work for now. Same with my other expressionist ones. But the rest was done with alcohol marker and glitter gel pen. Super fun. I enjoyed it. There was, you know, not much to it. Again, just an easy, simple, fun page when I wanted my brain not to have to do too much work in between all the other really complex pages. So that's 50 Halloween Fairy Houses by Chameleon Angelkova. Next, we have 50 monster-themed miniatures by Camellia. And I did this one. And this one is the 3rd color palette for 13 for Halloween by Sabi Sabi and What Colorful Worlds. Again, as close to their color palette as I could get using my alcohol markers. The background is soft pastel. It's based in alcohol marker, but then I used acrylic paint pens and acrylic markers to do all the shading and whatnot. And I've got glitter gel pen for accents. I've got dimensional magic on the eyes. Again, fun, simple, no brain. Just make it fun. Ugh, I'm loving the Halloween season for these fun, bright colored pages. And that's 50 monster themed miniatures. This one was one that I put a lot of effort into, and I'm really, 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 really happy with it. And that is this one. So this was based in alcohol marker, but then it was done the rest with polychromos, and then I used various paint pens to black out a lot of the lines. So I used a mixture of Ohuhu acrylic markers, Tuliart acrylic paint pens, the pastel set, and Tuliart skin tones. And that's how we got where we are here. And I'm very, very, very happy with all the shading. I think that the colors turned out lovely. The gnomes are super cute. I managed to make his beard not white, which is sometimes hard to do with these gnomes. You just picture their beards being white, but I didn't want that, so I thought it turned out really nicely. I am happy. The pumpkins are fun. I mean, the How Many Pumpkins tag has been fun this year as well. Yeah, so that's that. Very little glitter, just glitter on the outside. And then a little bit on his hat for accents. And that's it. So that is Gnome Sweet Gnome by Teresa Goodridge. Next is our community project book. So I'm going to do separate videos on this, so I'm not going to go crazy over it. But this month, I completed one. And not super happy about it. So the picture itself turned out fine. I decided to do all the rest of the page using tempera paint sticks. And as you can see, that did not turn out super. Not happy with that at all. Tempted to go back over it with acrylic paint and just black it out. But I'm gonna leave it. It was a mistake. It was a mess. Not every page that we do is going to turn out the way we want it to, and this is a lesson in that. So make sure if you did this page this month, you just, like, even if you're a little late, go ahead and use the hashtag and throw it up there for me. I'll throw it up in my story. I'll try to do a slideshow or something like that of these at the end, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I really appreciate you coloring with me. Send me DMs, you know, on Instagram, letting me know you're participating. Use the hashtag Project Mythical Minis when you color in this book this year. We want to get this done by the end of 2025. So that is Chameleon Angelkova's 50 Mythical Miniatures. Next, okay, this, you know what? I'm gonna leave this book till the end. I'm gonna switch and I'm gonna do a different book. So let's do 50 Farmers Miniatures by Chameleon Angelkova. I did one in here, and this is the first one I did in this book. And I did this little turkey. This one I put a fair amount of effort into, actually, and I'm really happy with the way it went. So I based it with alcohol marker, and then I used Artex. I want to say Artex pencils. I think I used Artex pencils to do the shading. The background is alcohol marker, but then I went over it with soft pastel and a stencil. Same with the ground here. I did a little bit of pencil just to create some shading at the top of the ground here. And then I went around everything with acrylic paint pen. And the border is a copper acrylic paint as well. Really fun little turkey there with his pumpkins. Really, really pretty. Or her, I guess. I enjoyed doing this. I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad I put some effort into it too. Alrighty, so that is 50 Farmers Miniatures by Chameleon Angelkova. Next, we have the Coloring Heaven Sweet and Simple one, Spooky Kawai Designs by Alya Koss. And there are two in here of note. So the first one, I did this one all in alcohol marker and acrylic paint pen with a little bit of homemade glitter, of course, for accent. Oh, and the super golden markers. Guanya super golden markers are in here as well. I just got those near the end of the month, a gift from my friend Wendy. Very pretty. My husband was super creeped out by her eyes. I don't know why. I mean, yeah, they're a little creepy, but they're not like crazy creepy. But to him, he was like, no, no, no. Those are, he's like, stop showing you that page. It's weirding me out. Like, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I just wanted to do something bright again with my neons, pinks, but still make it a little creepy. And I think it turned out really well. So the next of note is this one. You can probably tell this isn't my style because my husband did this one actually. Once in a while he gets in the mood to color something, so I'll hand him a book that I think he'll find something that he'll like in, and he did this one. He did this all with Crayola Super Tips, except for the background, which he did in acrylic paint. That's his first time using the acrylic paint on a page. So I'm really proud of him for trying and doing his best to get a page done. I love that. I love when he colors with me. It feels like a really nice activity. I know that he's still a beginner and he has a lot to learn, but he's trying, and I really appreciate that. Okay, so that is the Coloring Heaven Pocket Halloween. Next, we have Simple Fall by Alexandra Franzese. This was a gift from my dear friend, Christy. Thank you, Christy, so much for this. This provided me with a lot of fun this month. I really, again, between the complex ones, I really love doing these little simple ones. It was so much fun. So I got 4 done in here. So I did this one, which is technically the bonus page of Alexandra Franzese's Simple Halloween, but I decided since it was in here, I would do it. The background is tempera paint stick, and the rest I all did in soft pastel, because I wanted them to look really soft and bright and lit up. And then of course I did homemade glitter glue for all of the glittery things, and then I whited out the black lines in the middle of the bulbs. Super fun. The next page I did was this one, and I thought this one turned out really nicely as well. Again, it was based in alcohol marker. I used a little bit of pencil to do some shading on the pumpkin. The background, so the bottom here is tempera paint, like out of the bottle, so it's watery stuff, but I just layered it up and it worked out fine. I had to iron the page obviously because it was really watery, but we got it done. This top part is acrylic paint, and then I used more acrylic paint and a stencil to do all the splatters in the background. And then there's glitter paint or glitter pen on the scissors, and that's about it. I thought I turned a really simple page into a really, really fun one. Next, I did this one entirely in alcohol marker. I used every alcohol marker skill I have to try and blend really well on this one, and I thought it turned out fantastically. This paper is so thirsty. It was so hard to get those blends because like keeping it wet was really a struggle, but I managed, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I love the gradient on this little leaf here and the leaves and everything. Just, oh, I love it. Really, really fun. Next one is this one. And again, it was done with alcohol marker. I based everything in alcohol marker. I did the spots on the cat with alcohol marker. I shaded. I made the stripes on the wallpaper. And then instead of coloring the leaves gradiented, I used different glitters to try and differentiate the different parts and shades of the tree. It didn't work as well as I would like, but sure turned out fun. It was worth a try anyway. So yeah, that was Simple Fall by Alexandra Franzese. Next, we have Morning Scribbles by Chris Rainiak. And I did this one just for funsies. So the background is the background is Inktense, wet on wet Inktense. And I did it as an experiment. I did it using isopropyl alcohol instead of water to see if it would still spread and to see if it could kind of save the paper a little bit, and it worked pretty good as long as I didn't get it too close to the alcohol marker that I did on the creatures. You can see it bled a little bit here because I got too close. And that's okay, it looks fine. I don't care that much. But then the creatures themselves are just regular alcohol marker. I used clear nail polish on their eyes to try and create a little bit of shine, and then I put some Halloween glitter glue around the edges to smooth out the areas where it's a little blotchy. So again, this was an experiment to try and make a really simple page a little bit more fun and poppy, and yeah, just again, throw caution to the wind and play around with it, really. So that's Morning Scribbles by Chris Rignac. Next, I have Tiny Cats. This was a gift as well from my friend Kiara. And I did this page. So, the background is tempera paint stick. The black is tempera paint stick. The bottom part is activated gel stick, the Creatology gel sticks. Based everything else in alcohol marker, used Artex pencils. Yes, Artex pencils to do the shading. And then, of course, I have Guangna super color or super golden markers to outline most of the things that are outlined. And I also have the Ohuhu acrylic markers to do all like the outlining on the flames and the hats. The little fishbowl here, that's the super golden. And yeah, loose glitter with glue. Still, look at that. All that glitter. My goodness, I'm gonna have to clean after this. But yeah, so I wanted it to look like this little ghostie here was contributing to the potion. So she's pushing this pink glitter up and towards the potion. And this little guy, he's got this ball of glitter here that he doesn't know what to do with. So that was super, super fun. Super duper fun. Really enjoyed that. Again, not taking myself too seriously sometimes, right? All right, and that's Tiny Cats by Coco Wyo. 1 second. Use my handy dandy desk vacuum to get some of that glitter off of there. All right, so next up is Creepy Fantasy by Southern Lotus. This is technically one of my husband's coloring books, but I'm starting to enjoy some of his coloring books too, so I've been stealing them lately. So I finished this one. So I went with the pastel brights kind of in the background, and then I did, I believe it's a her, could be a him, but I believe it's a her or a they maybe. And I did really muted dark colors for them. I did blood on the cloak, and I've got, you know, the teddy bear all ripped up using different fabrics and stuff like that. Yeah, this one was just fun. A lot of the super golden marker, a lot of the Ohuhu glitter marker, and a lot of alcohol marker. Again, one of those fun, let's not take it too seriously ones. That's Creepy Fantasy by Southern Lotus. Finally, so this is a book that I pulled out of the archives. This was a gift from one of my roommates, actually, before she was my roommate, back when we were just friends, and she gave me this for my birthday or Christmas one year, back in, I think, 2016 or 2017. And that is this. The Art of Coloring Disney Animals 100 Images to Inspire. And it is the only Disney book that I own. I had played with it back in those days a little bit, but I didn't know what to do with it because it is all Zen Doodle. I had no idea how to color this until now. And I did 2 images this month in this book because I had an inspiration. I was inspired by all you guys who have the color by number Hatchet Heroes books. And what I did was get rid of the Zen Doodles. So This one, I used stamping ink for the background. I used super golden marker for these little copper things and these giraffes. I used black acrylic Ohuhu paint marker to fill in all of these trees, the bigger center doodles, the bushes down here, and Mufasa and Simba themselves. So I used a mixture of Ohuhu acrylic markers and Tule Art skin tone markers to do all this. And it really simplified it. You can still see some of the doodles underneath the yellow, but I thought that looked okay. I was fine with that. It didn't have to be perfect. But yeah, I treated it like a color by number. I just was like, okay, how can I make this so that I can color it reasonably? And this is how it turned out. But this was the second one I did. The first one I did was this one. And with this one, I gessoed the entire thing. I just put gesso over the top of the whole thing. I used acrylic paint over the background to cover all the doodles. And then I used, again, Ohuhu acrylic markers, Posca markers, and Tule Art paint pens to fill in all the rest. Some of it I even used regular acrylic paint. Like I think this blue is regular acrylic paint. But yeah, basically it was just gesso over it and do it like a color by number. And I think it turned out fabulously. So both of the, and these are huge, by the way. Can you tell how big these are? Like these are just massive. But this is a book that now is coming out of the archives and being put back in my collection because now I know how to deal with it. There are going to be some pages, for example, a page like this. I'm going to treat it like it's not there, and I can sacrifice it. So for example, if say there was an image on this side that I wanted to do, I could do it in alcohol marker and just sacrifice this page. I'm fine with that. Any of those wallpaper pages, like if I wanted to do this one in alcohol marker, I'm fine with sacrificing this page, right? So this one you may see more of in the future. So that's The Art of Coloring, Disney Animals, 100 Images to Inspire. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We have finally come to the end. So those were all of my completed pages for the month of October. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope something inspired you. Please let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you want to see next. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, or dislike and comment. That's totally up to you, whichever you feel is most appropriate. Let me know what I can do to improve in the future, and I will see you next month. Toodaloo now.